Glaucus and Scylla, a masterpiece by J.M.W. Turner depicting Ovid's mythological tale, is a significant link between the art of today and the art of the past. Though many works hold a place in the continued evolution of art, it is the art and artists that shaped, influenced, defied, and facilitated developments in the art world that cannot be destroyed or forgotten. J.M.W. Turner and his painting Glaucus and Scylla is no exception. Because of its influential depiction of landscape, color, and use of light, Glaucus and Scylla possesses historical, cultural, and aesthetic significance that must be discussed, recognized, and celebrated. Ovid's mythological tale of Glaucus and Scylla tells the story of a god who wished for love, yet only received an upsetting fate. Glaucus, a merman-esque god of the sea, fell in love with the sea nymph Scylla. Though he fought tirelessly to win the heart of the nymph, Glaucus was ultimately rejected. In defeat, he visited the enchantress Circe, pleading with her to make Scylla return the love that Glaucus displayed. In a twist of fate, Circe made it apparent that she herself was attracted to Glaucus. However, Glaucus responded by affirming that his love was for Scylla, and Scylla alone. Circe, brimming with rage and jealousy towards Scylla, responded by creating a potion that would bring about the sea nymph's doom. Circe used the concoction to contaminate the water where Scylla bathed, thus transforming Scylla into a horrible monster with barking serpents attached to her body. Devastated, Scylla began a career sinking ships and devouring mariners until she finally turned to stone. J.M.W. Turner, an English Romanicist landscape and topographical painter, lived from 1775 to 1851. Known for his groundbreaking depictions of landscapes and his influential use of light, Turner was recognized early in life as prodigious. At 14 years of age, he was accepted into the Royal Academy of Art, which began to display his paintings within a year. Much of Turner's work consisted of watercolors and oil paintings, and much of his art was inspired by his travels throughout Italy, Rome, and other parts of Europe. Turner, known for creating landscape paintings that interpreted both history and myth, followed this vein with Glaucus and Scylla. Likely influenced by the work of Claude Lorraine, a French landscape painter of the Baroque era, Glaucus and Scylla depicts a decorative beach landscape as a backdrop for the drama that unfolds between Glaucus, Circe, and Scylla. Artistically speaking, Glaucus and Scylla embodies the elements of light and landscape that distinguished Turner as a painter, and is rather unique when compared to other landscape paintings of the time. A small piece, roughly only 31 inches by 30.5 inches, the painting appears circular in its original frame. Both the size and the shape seem to draw attention away from the landscape, emphasizing the interaction between the mythological characters. Most of the colors used in Glaucus and Scylla are warm colors, such as reds, oranges, and yellows. These colors assist in pushing attention to the foreground of the work that depicts Glaucus desperately trying to win affection from Scylla. Glaucus, seen next to a grassy rock in the water, reaches his hand out in the direction of his beloved Scylla. Scylla, seen to the right with her back turned to Glaucus, seems as if she's moving away from the god. Circe is said to be represented by the sun, whose aura is overpowering. Warm colors radiating from the sun are representative of Circe's jealousy and anger towards Scylla. Spastic, the brush strokes of these colors directly contrast with the calm background. Cool colors in the painting, mainly blue, centered around Scylla and the large rock in the background behind her, draw attention to other important points in the artwork. Scylla's final form is said to be represented as she is turned into stone, and in this form continues to sink ships. Glaucus and Scylla appears to progress from left to right across in an almost linear fashion. Circe's jealousy, represented by the sun, shines down furiously upon Glaucus, who is calling for Scylla. In the end, a foreshadowing what is to become of the sea nymph becomes apparent as the blue color engulfs both Scylla and the large rock. Since its creation, Glaucus and Scylla has changed hands numerous times, lending to an interesting provenance. Benjamin Godfrey Windus of Tottenham was the first to purchase the artwork in 1841. He paid £735 for the work. Godfrey, a significant patron of Turner, owned over 200 drawings and watercolors by the artist. Godfrey's collection of Turner's works also consisted of 6 major oil paintings. John Ruskin, an art critic at the time, claimed that nobody in England cared in the truest sense of the word for Turner but Benjamin Godfrey and Ruskin himself. In 1853, the art was auctioned but failed to sell, but in 1862, a well-known art dealer named Thomas Rott purchased the piece. Following the purchase by Rott, the painting exchanged owners fairly frequently. Rott sold Glaucus and Scylla to a progressive art dealer named Louis Huth. In 1872, it was sold yet again to a London dealer's Arthur Tooth & Sons for £535. Tooth then passed the art along to Don Jose Murrieta. Finally, in 1902, John and Anna Jaffa purchased the painting from Sedlmayr Gallery in Paris. John and Anna Jaffa were well-known art collectors and patrons of the arts across Europe. In 1855, the couple, brimming with an inherited fortune from both sides of the family, retired to the French Riviera in Nice, France. There, the Jaffas made their home into the likes of a museum, incorporating hallways of paintings from famous artists across Europe. Known for their generosity, the couple gave several works to the Masséna Museum in Nice and participated in various other philanthropic endeavors. Despite the rising anti-Semitism of the times, the couple was recognized for their endeavors by the mayor of Nice, Jean Médecin, who awarded them the Légion d'honneur. In 1933, John Jaffa passed away, leaving the family's extensive art collection in Anna's hands. Anna initially intended to will the collection to prominent European art museums. However, Anna, a Jew, quickly realized the threat to art posed by the Nazis. As Nazis closed in on southern France, Anna ultimately decided to will the Jaffa collection to her niece and 3 nephews. Anna died in March of 1942. In 1943, just a year after her death, the entire Jaffa collection was taken by the Nazis and sold at auction at the Hall du Savoy in Nice. Within 48 hours, the Jaffa collection, including Glaucus and Scylla, had been auctioned off by a Nazi-approved French auctioneer by the name of J.J. Terrace. In 1956, over 10 years later, Glaucus and Scylla resurfaced when Emily Leitz of Paris sold it to a London dealer. A year later, Glaucus and Scylla was purchased by the Howard Young Galleries in New York and subsequently sold to a Mrs. Chamberlain. In 1966, the Newhouse Gallery in New York gained possession of it and sold it to the Kimball Art Museum in Fort Worth, Texas. By this point, no references to Nazi confiscation existed. However, Alan Monteagle, an heir of the Jaffas, was determined to see the painting returned to the family. In 2006, the painting was finally restituted to the heirs of the Jaffa family. However, the family sold the painting back to the Kimball for $6.5 million in 2007. So what distinguishes the piece of art? Turner, often referred to as the Shakespeare of painting, painted in a way that some hesitate to classify as Romanticism. Turner relied heavily on imagination to interpret and depict landscapes, and it was much of his work that brought credibility to landscape painting. Described as poetic, Turner often explored the interaction between nature and humanity, using both light and color in groundbreaking ways. Romanticism, an artistic movement in the late 18th century, spurred the artistic transition away from rigidity, structure, balance, and rationality that defined classicism and neoclassicism. Romanticism was characterized by the emerging originality of the artist and offered an alternative to the ordered world of Enlightenment. In 1846, Charles Baudelaire, a poet and art critic, wrote, "Romanticism is precisely situated neither in the choice of subject nor in exact truth, but in a way of feeling." It was this transition in the thought and approach associated with Romanticism that allowed the art world to progress towards Impressionism and the subsequently modern art that is characteristic of today. J.M.W. Turner's Glaucus and Scylla matters because it was part of the history, progress, and evolution of art. Again, Glaucus and Scylla is a significant link between the art of today and the art that preceded it. Though many works hold a place in the continued evolution of art, it is the art and artists that shaped, influenced, defied, and facilitated developments in the art world that can't be destroyed or forgotten. Without Glaucus and Scylla, society would be robbed of both the artwork itself, as well as the implications of Turner's work as a whole. For this reason, society should fight to protect artworks like Glaucus and Scylla from theft, destruction, and neglect. Beyond the aesthetic appeal of art are historical, cultural, and societal implications that define and enrich humanity.